All right, my friends, it's T Mutton, and we're back with one of our favorite YouTubers to make YouTube videos on. I mean, how could I resist from making videos on this guy Wolf Coaching, man? This guy is one of the dumbest people on the internet. I told you before, some of the dumbest people I know are educated people. Education, man. They never listen to their instincts or their senses or what's natural in nature, how things work. No, they got education. Education, broski, yes. Yeah, that's why he's failing. That's why he's failing, because he's got education. All right, anyways, I'm gonna do a video to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness, and I don't know, supplement gear weird slave, dude. Who knows what he's doing? Something fake, because he's just faking it to make it. Dr. Milo Wolf from Wolf Coaching. So Dr. Milo Wolf from Wolf Coaching says, how to train like a minimalist. Ooh, how to train like a minimalist. And what does that do? Does that create minimalists? Does that create a minimalist body? So if you train minimalist, it creates what? Minimalist? What's it create exactly?
There's nothing wrong with wanting to train optimally and trying to maximize muscle growth, even if it means spending more time setting up the optimal exercises, training one side at a time, or spending even more time in the gym, chasing high volumes and training to failure. However, that can be time consuming.
Chasing high volumes and, yeah, okay, whatever. Time consuming, yes.
You run into heavily diminishing
returns. You're going to run into heavily diminishing returns. Man, this guy's funny. Him and his fake muscles he's showing here. Come on, man. This guy, who's he trying to fool?
Returns on the time you spend in the gym. This can also make you run into paralysis by analysis. As you've heard me say in many videos,
Paralysis by analysis. Look at him just standing there alone. He looks ordinary, bro. I don't know. He just looks like a guy that maybe plays basketball. I wouldn't know he lifted. Okay.
most people are actually limited by time to train. And that's where the concept of the minimum effective dose comes in. Dr. Pack, first question. What is the concept of the minimum effective training dose?
The concept of the minimum effective dose is essentially the concept of doing the least amount of work required in order to get a desired output. It's a concept.
The least amount of work to get the most desired output. I know what that is. You want to know what the least amount of work is to get the most desired outcome? Watch my channel. I talk about it all the time in every video. Yeah, man.
That applies to many different fields, like, for example, pharmacology, but obviously applies to our field as well. So
it applies to pharmacology. Okay, whatever.
For strength and hypertrophy.
Only around 20.
Strength and hypertrophy. Let's see. What's the one exercise that would give you lots of strength and hypertrophy? Eccentric exercise. Oh my God, secrets out of the bag. Oh my God. Man, eccentric resistance overload will get you there fast. And I mean super fast.
4% of the adult population needs physical activity guidelines. There are many reasons for this, but one commonly cited reason for why people don't get enough exercise in is time. So, if we can get you to exercise.
So he wants to get people to exercise, but he equates that with hypertrophy exercise. Kind of hypertrophy is that if you're coming in often. I mean, he doesn't even know the difference between sarcoplasmic or myofibular hypertrophy. Which one is he talking about?
Exercise and spend less time in the gym, that's a good thing. What do you think the minimum dose is for hypertrophy and strength, and what variables do you pay attention to?
Exercise doesn't build bodies, dude.
So for hypertrophy specifically, based on the latest meta-analysis by Pell and al., around 4 fractional sets per muscle group per week seems to be enough to elicit detectable muscle growth.
What type of detectable muscle growth? What type is it? Is it sarcoplasmic or is it myofibular? Man, they never really tell you what it is. They never explain because they don't know.
Strength it's roughly around.
Is this untrained people or trained people that did something they were untrained doing? I don't know what this is, bro. To get myofibular growth, it has to be eccentric, has to be overworked, has to be damaged, it has to be unaccustomed, untrained, unfamiliar forms. Get that damage. Look, what gets this damage? Eccentric exercise damages muscles, right? They don't damage with repeated bouts. That we know. So if it's not damaging with repeated bouts, getting myofibular growth, he's telling you to come in every day or every other day or whatever, coming in often, lifting. So what kind of hypertrophy is that? Well, let's lay down what type, well, how many hypertrophies there are. Let's see. Blood flow restriction, inflammatory response, I don't know, lactic acid buildup, the pump, transient pump, the pump, it's transient. Let's see, what else is there? Glycogen, for every gram of glycogen, 3 grams of water, drop cheese, skin and muscle into the muscle. And then there's myofibrillar growth, which you hypertrophy through myonuclei and stuff like that, and the repair and the remodeling. See what I mean? It doesn't really tell you which one it is, so it's fake.
1 set per exercise or per muscle group per week.
When cells get an inflammatory response, they absorb water in your body. They're holding water, that inflammatory response. You're walking around with inflamed muscles, you hypertrophied. So how many sets to hypertrophy my muscles, causing an inflammatory response in the cells, so I can fill them up with water? Let's see, 6, 7, 8, right, Mr. Dr. Milo Wolf, right? Yeah, and this goof over here, his goof friend, right? And you're walking around with what? Inflamed muscles. And so you're coming back to hypertrophy your muscles every other day or every day, lifting to do what? To inflame them with water? You hypertrophied, get it? Yeah, see how stupid this is?
And for hypertrophy, I'd pay attention to a close proximity to failure for each set, being at roughly 0 to 2 reps in reserve. Ideally close.
Okay, so you're working out to failure. Here's another thing. You're doing concentric exercises because it's obvious. You can see these people doing it's mostly concentric exercise, okay? There's very minimal eccentric overload because they're not overloading it. It's fucking all concentric loaded. And so they're inflaming their muscles. That's all they're doing, because concentric is not associated with myofibrillar growth. That's for sure. But it is associated with sarcoplasmic inflammatory response, fucking getting lactic acid and a bunch of other shit, man. Maybe some blood flow restriction bullshit, whatever. So there you go. So it's all fake. It's transient.
Closer to 0, as recent data from our lab suggests that within low volume training programs, going to failure may be slightly better than staying a couple of reps in reserve.
Yeah, go to failure. It's a lot better to get an inflammatory response, a higher inflammatory response, to draw more water into the cells, because that's how they inflame. And then you walk around with inflamed muscles, pretend big. You got pretend muscles. Yeah. Okay, great. Cool. Yeah.
And for strength, I'd pay close attention to lifting heavy weights, ideally above 80% of one's.
Okay, I would agree. When it comes to strength, you should focus on lifting heavy weights in the eccentric, overloading the eccentric with extremely astronomically heavy weight. Get it? Because you can handle more eccentrically than concentrically. Yeah. And eventually you'll be stronger at concentrics because it'll increase your strength concentrically. Eccentric exercises. Just look it up on Google. Tells you there right away. Tells you that.
1 RM, while staying a few reps away from failure, roughly in the 1 to 4 reps in reserve ballpark.
Okay, whenever you use the minimum effective dose.
Okay, I don't know where he's coming up with this stuff. It's not based on his experience.
In your own training.
I've used it during periods where stress was high or time was limited. Similarly with clients.
Here's the funny thing. If all these things worked so well, then why do these people have to take steroids? See what I mean? If they really believed in what they were saying, then they would not have to take steroids. They could show and produce these so-called gains they're getting from all these wonderful exercises they're doing, exercising.
And athletes during periods where optimal or higher volume training was not possible. The minimum effective dose was a perfect approach to continue progressing and not just maintain or regress.
What are you progressing though? Concentrically lifting? What are you progressing in the nervous system? That's about it. You're progressing in getting better at lifting weights concentrically. The nervous system is getting stronger, yeah.
Video, I'll convince you that you, dear viewer, probably don't need to chase optimal. Instead, you should learn how to make gains forever using the minimum effective dose. Let's say
I should learn how to make gains forever using the optimum dose. Yes, okay.
family. You have a job and you also have a side hustle.
I know how to make gains forever. It's just like making money. Once you find this formula to making it, you just have to apply it again and again and it'll always come back. It's called eccentric resistance overload training. That's it. That's all you need. That's it to build real muscles and get really super strong. That's it.
Crazier yet, you have friends. You have limited time in your life. Why spend it all fighting to get those last few percentage gains? As it turns out, the minimum effective training dose is way lower than people usually think.
Yeah, it is. You want to know what it is? It's the training dose is way lower than they think, is because they watch people like you, Dr. Milo Wolf, the failure channel, where you keep bringing out information to make people fail. They only need one thing in bodybuilding to build muscle and get super strong. That's what bodybuilding is about. Bodybuilding, building your body big and strong, strength, power, speed, and performance. It's based on eccentric lifting, Borowski. That's what builds muscles. Eccentric exercise builds muscles and super strength, because you could go heavier on the eccentrics than you could on the concentric. And concentric is associated with metabolic fatigue. And eccentric is associated with muscle damage. Yeah, it's the opposite. Dingbat. You ding dong.
Let's start with muscle hypertrophy. Most people are aware of the relationship between volume and hypertrophy, and that more volume is better for muscle growth. In fact,
more volume is better for sarcoplasmic hypertrophy growth. Yes.
That's what a meta-analysis by Pellet and colleagues showed.
Yeah, a meta-analysis by, what's his name? Petin something, whatever guy. Hypertrophy, yeah. Of high volume. Effects of weekly volume and frequency. Weekly volume, yeah. Here, you want to see what that hypertrophy is? I'll show you what that fucking hypertrophy is, dude. Right there. Muscle fiber hypertrophy in response to 6 weeks of high volume resistance training in trained young men is largely attributed to what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Yay! Get it? Yeah, because you're adapted. Your eccentric movements are adapted. Get it? And so you're doing concentric lifting now. And so you're doing whatever, full ROM, whatever you want to call it, full range of motions, whatever. But the eccentric load is going down light. That's why it's adapted. There's nothing going on there. It goes up heavy, but it goes down too light. So it's adapted. It's not heavy enough, the load going down. People don't really think about that. And so it moves into a secondary shift. They call that sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, because now you come in often. You're an endurance athlete, performing endurance slave, and you are increasing the sarcoplasm, the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It's a type of artificial muscle growth. Get it, dudeski? Artificial muscle growth, because it's glycogen muscles, fake muscles.
All else being equal, getting more sets in.
So yes, I will agree with his report. High volume will increase more of this sarcoplasm hypertrophy. Yes, sarcoplasmic, yes.
Across the week for a muscle will tend to grow more muscle in that area. Look.
Yes, working out twice a week or more a week will definitely increase the area in that muscle, will expand the muscle in that area through sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Glycogen loading.
You could spend countless hours in the gym trying to optimize and get every last % of gains. But at some point, the return on investment on...
But the problem with that is it doesn't make you stronger. Your body will still be weak and susceptible to getting injuries, and you'll be fucked.
time spent in the gym actually gets pretty poor. Around 40 fractional weekly sets seems to promote maximum muscle hypertrophy. Doing some quick math.
Yes, maximal muscle sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Yes, that's that training. That is that training for that type of hypertrophy. See how I have to correct these people? They don't explain what it is, but I can explain it to you so you understand what you're going to get, okay? That's what you're going to get.
So this would quickly get...
Eccentric training can only happen once a week. Muscles can only be damaged once a week, and they can't be damaged with a repeated bout. And if you were to come back when they're damaged, you would lose these muscles. You could kill them. They could die. So yeah, that's why people complain. They go, I'm getting smaller. I'm working out and I'm getting smaller. You are getting smaller because you might have gotten some micro damage and then you shrunk them by overworking them, coming back, or overtraining them, coming back too soon. You never let them go through a repair and a remodeling when they were damaged. You understand me? Which takes about 7 days, the minimum, 7 days, 1 week.
You to spending 2.5 hours in the gym per week per muscle, meaning 1 to 2 hour workout.
Yeah, in here's the thing with eccentric exercise, myofibrillar growth, you only need to spend once in the gym. You can work out all muscle groups once in the gym. Once, and then you do your legs the next day once, and then the rest of the week is off. You're growing the rest of the week. You're eating, feeding, and growing the rest of the week. You're repairing and remodeling.
It's nearly every day. That's where a study.
So he's telling you to work out every day. You're an endurance athlete if you're coming in every day to a gym exercising.
We recently conducted, I believe in college, by Herman and colleagues.
Herman and colleagues, okay, without fail, muscular adaptation and single set resistance training performed to failure or with repetitions in reserve. Okay. That's endurance lifting, like running down the street, endurance runners.
They performed one set per exercise across 2 weekly ones.
Remember, concentric does not build muscles. It's the eccentric does. So when that weight goes up heavy, it goes up. But when it comes down easy. You're adapted. You're not really damaging on the eccentric. You would need 3 times that amount going down, and you're not doing that. Nobody is. Well, people are going to say, well, the gym is not set up for eccentric. Yeah, it's set up for lifting. That's all it is. It's set up in a way it is set up for eccentric. The eccentric means to do the bottom portion of the lift, not the top portion. If you want to do the top portion, then keep being a lifting slave. Go to the gym, keep doing the top portion, and get the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. But if you want myofibrillar hypertrophy, it is associated with fucking eccentric exercise. You understand me? With muscle damage. It isn't associated with concentric lifting, fool. I mean, fools. The people that are out there, whatever, from his channel. Not on my channel. The people on my channel, they already fucking know this.
Workouts. They did 9 exercises in total in each workout, 3 exercises for each muscle group measured: triceps, biceps, and quads. In total,
This is useless.
they were likely getting around 4 to 6 weekly sets.
Yeah.
And these were trained lifters, around 4.5 years of lifting experience
So
on
what?
average. Using only one.
So what if they're trained? That doesn't mean that somebody knows something. You're always learning something. You don't really know everything. It's impossible. We're trained or not trained. Fucking, I don't care what these people are talking about, man. It's full of shit, bro.
Set per exercise, we observed solid muscle growth in the biceps, triceps, and the quads, whether you were taking sets to 2 reps in reserve or failure. On average, we saw 2 to 10% of an increase in muscle thickness over 8 weeks. Taking the set all the way to failure.
Muscle thickness, yeah, it's sarcoplasmic. So he saw muscles get thick. He didn't ask what is inside those muscles. See, he never talks about eccentric exercise. He never talks about muscle damage. He doesn't talk about repair and remodeling muscles. You understand me? He doesn't talk about building muscles through eccentric exercise, getting damaged and growing them. He doesn't talk about how long that takes or anything like that. He doesn't say anything. He just says exercise, hypertrophy, exercise. Yeah, this is endurance lifting, bro. High volume. This is sarcoplasmic.
As opposed to keeping 2 reps in the tank, did seem to help you grow more muscle. Now think.
Yeah, the only muscle you're gonna grow is the fucking your brain. The muscles in your brain, if you're lucky. Cause this is bullshit. You're not growing any muscles. You're just getting an inflammatory response and maybe some glycogen.
Back on that meta-analysis by Pelham and colleagues I mentioned earlier.
Depending on how much you're eating, I don't know how much glyco you're eating.
40 fractional weekly sets did seem to maximize muscle hypertrophy. Only around 4 fractional weekly sets seem to be enough.
Okay, so you have to come in every day and maintain this hypertrophy, this inflammatory response, the water being absorbed in the cells from the inflammation. So you have to come in every day, Milo Wolf, right? And you have to maintain it now, every day lifting. What the fuck? That's crazy.
See some muscle growth. And this aligns perfectly with the study we conducted at Lehman College. After all, in this study, when you count weekly volume, most muscles are being trained with 4 to 6 fractional weekly sets. While muscle growth does slow down.
Yeah, they're being trained with these sets and reps. Yeah, okay. And they're adapted. And what about them?
In trained lifters, there's a chance you don't even need more volume when you're more trained. To hit the minimum effective dose for hypertrophy.
You don't need more volume. You're trained. To hit the maximum what? What, dude?
Just 2 workouts
Maximum hypertrophy? 2 workouts? What?
per week, around 30 to 45 minutes each, can get you there.
So it can get you there. Not in myofibrillar growth, not eccentric growth, eccentric exercise, no. If you wouldn't even come in that following day, the next day after, you'd be fucking dead, bro. Your muscles are hurting, your body, you're weak, you'd be fucked, you're fucked. No way, that's impossible. No, this is sarcoplasmic training.
get you around 4 to 6
This is inflammation. This is sarcoplasmic. Yeah.
sets per muscle per week, no problem. In your first weekly workout for hypertrophy,
Yeah.
Data drives everything,
what about
but
it?
managing data workflows is key.
pressing some dumbbell rows and
You do some squatting, dumbbell rows. Okay. Yeah.
some hamstring curls for a total full body stimulus. For the second
Why would you just do that? One set of each? One set of what? Couple of reps? What the fuck's that gonna do? Put more glycogen in there? That ain't gonna damage anything.
hypertrophy workout for the week, you could simply do some incline chest pressing, some
right.
pull downs, some Romanian deadlifts, and some leg pressing, and you would cover many of the major muscles.
Yeah, you could do those really lazily, concentrically lifting, concentrically getting nothing.
Add in some isolation exercises to your liking if you want to bring up certain muscles even more, but that will cover nearly everything. MyAdapt auto-selects the right type of movement based on whether you have an injury or not, based on the muscle group you're trying to hit, based on the rep range, and much more. No workout is ever quite the same with MyAdapt. It constantly changes things up while making sure you're still progressing the weight on each exercise individually, getting plenty of volume in, and just progressing consistently. By the time you're seeing this, we'll likely be in closed beta with a couple hundred of users already using MyAdapt. But if you're not one of the lucky few, go to myadapt.com, register your interest, and you'll receive a lifetime discount and a free trial when it finally publicly launches. But what about strength? Well, the meta-analysis I mentioned earlier by Pell and colleagues also looked at strength. For strength, things are even easier. Just one set a week is enough to see some gains. And when it comes to maximizing strength gains, things also looked really promising. Only around 5 fractional weekly sets were required to maximize your strength progress. What did your study in paralysis do?
Yeah, what kind is that maximizing? Again, what is that doing? Nothing. You're getting better at lifting, definitely concentrically, and what are you doing? Nothing. You're an endurance athlete. You're just pumping your muscles with glycogen and inflammatory response. That's about it. That's all you're getting there. Blood flow restriction, some, lactic acid buildup and inflammation, and maybe some glycogen.
With the singles and the deadlift sets, can you just describe the
You're expanding the volume of the sarcoplasm, yes.
design and the results?
For sure. So we had a bunch of powerlifters perform different minimum effective dose programs. One group performed just a single RP 9 to 9.5, meaning a single that was like very close to a 1 RM test. And they performed that 2 times a week for the squat, 3 times a week for the bench, once a week for the deadlift, with the other group doing the exact same thing, but adding 2 triples after each single, performed at 80% of whatever they hit for the single. So if the single was at 100 kilos, then they took 80% of that, 80 kilos, and did 2 triples. And essentially, both groups made strength gains. However, the group that did the
What kind of strength gains did they make? Physical strength gains or lifting strength gains concentrically? Like, what did they make exactly?
triples had a 99% probability of exceeding strength increases that were deemed at.
Did their strength increase in the concentric? He doesn't even tell you. Did their strength increase in the concentric lowering of the weight? They don't tell you. No, most likely not, because that's not what they're doing there. There's so many variables here. These people suck. They left everything out. What exactly are they doing?
As meaningful by powerlifting coaches and athletes that we surveyed.
Did they get their muscles? Did they become damaged? Did they become damaged? Did they get all the physiological signs that come along with muscle micro damage? You know, painful restriction, movement, loss of force production, and all that. And then they're in pain for the next 3-4 days. Did they get these clinical signs, dude? So are they building myofibrillar? No, because they're not mentioning that. They just keep saying their muscles are hypertrophying. So they didn't say anything about eccentric. They didn't say anything about damage, restriction, this, that. They didn't mention anything. Fuck. They don't even tell you what fucking hypertrophy is this. What are they doing there? They just tell you they're doing sets, reps, whatever. Is it full concentric? Or is it concentric? Is it full eccentric, concentric? What the fuck are they doing here exactly?
So yes, you can make gains with as little as 1 single per week, which
What gains are you making? What gains are you making?
was what the other group did for their deadlifts, for example. But adding a couple of triples,
But what are these gains? What are you talking about? Fuck me, man.
that is not very time consuming, can allow you to make substantially more gains and potentially more meaningful gains. So
What kind of gains, bro? What meaningful gains? What? Lifting gains? Some muscular gains? gains, some sarcoplasmic gains. Like, what fucking gains are these? Inflammatory response gains?
The back down or back off group, how many sets of is that for the squat, bench, and deadlift?
So for
You understand why these people suck? Because they can't tell you what gains you're getting there. They don't even know how to read those scientific charts, those papers, the documents. They don't even understand them.
the squat, it was an extra 4 sets. For the bench, it was an extra 6 sets. And for the deadlift, it was an extra 2 sets.
So it was 6 sets for the squat, 9 for the bench, and 3 for the deadlift.
So these sets are going to get you what? They're going to get you strength and they're going to get you hypertrophy doing these sets. Everybody's doing them and nothing's going on in these gyms. That's why they're all taking drugs and turkesterons and shit and fucking creatines.
Yeah, exactly. However, the deadlift responded really well to the overall volume. It's not like the bench or the squat responded better, which ties in really well with the pellet.
Well, squat definitely is king when it comes to like, you're going to respond quickly depending on what you're doing there. I don't even know what the fuck you're doing there.
Analysis, because back then we didn't have knowledge of that. We had the Ralston meta that showed that, you could even push higher than...
Again, volume training, bro. Get it? Volume and strength. What volume? This is concentric strength, getting better at going the opposite direction of gravity and volume. So high volume, expanding the volume, the sarcoplasm, the volume of the sarcoplasm. Okay, hypertrophy.
And be around 10 sets and see more gains, but that doesn't seem to hold much.
10 sets, you see more gains in the sarcoplasm. Oh, okay.
Anything above 5 sets is junk volume. You ever hear?
Exactly. Do above
Anything more than 6 sets is junk volume. Okay.
5 sets and you're going to literally die.
Work up to a heavy set at RP 6
And don't forget inflammation, yes.
9 or so, just once a week. For extra gains, just do a few additional sets or back down sets. You can
Yeah, for extra gains, just do a couple of down sets and back sets for extra gains. Well, why ain't anybody gaining in the gym? Well, they're all frustrated. And everybody's talking about fake natties, and then they want to go take these turkesterons and shit, and fucking SARMs modulators, steroids, and fucking creatines and shit and all that, and fucking weight gainers and protein powders, and it goes on and on and on forever. And then they want to do bulk diets, bro, this and that, because guess what? Milo Wolf has the secret. You just want a few extra gains. Just do a few extra sets and reps.
make day 1 your squat and
See, he's got the answer, bro. You don't have to do the bulk diets, faking it to make it, doing all these fake things. Now you could do it real. Milo's got the answer. Do a few extra back reps, set reps. Okay, dude?
bench day. And you can make day 2 your deadlift day. You can sprinkle in whatever accessories you want, but even just doing those main lifts will keep you improving. In fact, you can likely combine training for size and training for strength at the same time.
See, you can train for size and strength at the same time. Yeah. I know what I'm doing. Eccentrically, I can train for size and strength at the same time. But concentrically, when you do concentric lifting, like what these guys are doing, sets of reps, well, they're training in the opposite direction. They're getting concentric strength, right? Lifting, right? Nervous system. And the size is coming from the sarcoplasm. And inflammatory response, inflaming muscles as well. Inflaming the muscles coming in often to maintain what? They're lifting often as lifting slaves because they're a slave to inflammatory response. Inflammaging their muscles. Get it? Inflaming their muscles. Inflammation. Walking around with inflamed muscles.
Even when you're on a tight schedule, you just need to adopt the minimum effective dose for both of those goals at once, and you might only spend an hour or 2 in the gym per week. What about powerbuilding? How do you see the minimum dose playing into powerbuilding, aka pursuing strength and hypertrophy at the same time?
Yeah, given the overall literature on strength and the minimum effective dose being extremely low, you can incorporate strength training on top of your hypertrophy training in the form of...
I don't know what he means by strength training. Eccentric makes you strong too. Eccentric, concentric lifting, they can make you strong. That's strength training, bro. I don't know what he's talking about. You get stronger at doing eccentric training than you would concentrically. You get stronger. It makes you way stronger.
Very specific.
And a lot faster. It makes you more stronger a lot faster doing eccentric lifting because you can take on more weight going down than you could going in the opposite direction. That's why. Shit.
specific heavy strength work, i.e. doing a couple of singles or a single and a couple of triples before you do all your hypertrophy work. And in that way, you may not just get minimum effective dose strength adaptations, but actually even close to the maximum effective dose for strength. So chuck a heavy single on top of your hypertrophy workout and voila, you have a power building program.
And voila, you have a power building program. Okay, though that's not bodybuilding then. That's power building is not bodybuilding. Get it? That's what the Blaha does, power building. That isn't bodybuilding, sorry.
Most people
Bodybuilding is based on eccentric exercise.
don't just lift for size or strength though. What about health? How much time do you need to spend in the gym for health? In the most recent meta-analysis on resistance training for health by my online colleagues, the best outcomes for health were generally seen with only 30 to 60 minutes of lifting per week. This amount of time in the gym was associated with the greatest reductions in risk of cancer, cardiovascular disease, and all-cause mortality, with a slight exception for diabetes.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
Where more time in the gym was better.
Well, yeah, you're speeding up your metabolism to burn all the garbage that you're eating. So, what? Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? These things aren't going to affect you if you keep burning them as energy.
When it comes to making your training more efficient, there are 5 tips
But they will destroy you eventually in the end.
all the time. Let me tell you. Aim for just a few sets per exercise. This will give you the highest return on investment per minute spent in the gym.
Oh, okay, so that's a secret. Yeah.
Most people spend way too much time warming up in the gym when they only have half an hour to an hour to train.
Sure.
Instead, make your warm-up minimalist 2. Just one heavy set of the lift you're about to perform should suffice, as long as you're reasonably warm overall.
Sure.
Another tip to make your workouts more time efficient when you're trying to build muscle is to shorten your rest times. Most people still think that resting 2 to 3 minutes between sets is best for building muscle. However, the most recent research conducted by our lab suggests that just 1 to 2 minutes is sufficient.
There you go. 1 to 2 minutes between are sufficient and your muscles are going to grow. Inflammation. Get it? How do they grow between sets, your muscles? How do they grow? Inflammation.
So, cutting down your rest times to this.
Whoa, he's looking pretty good here. He's not looking too bad. But I know he's faking it. He's doing something fake because he's an influencer and a fake doctor. Because none of these exercises he does work, man. They're all fake.
Can result in the same hypertrophy while shortening your workouts.
I like that smile on his face. He's smiling. Look, I created some fake muscles. All those exercises and the things that he does, they don't work for anybody, man. It's just all fake shit.
Naturally. Especially if you only have an hour or 2 a week to train, make sure you take every set to failure for hypertrophy.
Yes, an hour or 2 every day to train. You want to train every day for an hour or 2? I'm not going to the gym to train 2 hours every single day because I want to exercise myself and inflame my muscles. I want to walk around with inflamed muscles, pretend muscles. So I have to be a slave to inflammation. That's crazy. You know how many people are slaves to inflammation? They go to the gym and they just inflame their muscles and they just keep going there again and again, hitting it. They hit it concentrically, inflaming their muscles, and that just causes, that just shortens your lifespan is what it does.
So make each set more effective and let you save time while still getting...
That can also cause you cardiovascular disease down the line, that inflammation. You could die of a heart attack and everything, man. You expire a lot faster. Let's just put it that way.
Good results. Drop sets are another great way to make your workout.
Drop sets. Well, that means that the weight is getting even lighter. So what's a drop set? Meaning that you're going lighter and lighter on the eccentric. We in bodybuilding, we go heavier in the eccentric. We go heavier and heavier and heavier, as heavy as we can fucking go eccentrically. We never lower the weight. We go up. We never go down. We put more weight on. We put more weight, bro. We slap weight on top of weight. This is crazy.
More time efficient. Especially for cables and selectorized machines, they are arguably...
See how that went up? It went up pretty easy. Boom. He just went all the way up. That was a concentric exercise because the eccentric is dead at the bottom. There's nothing going on there.
The best way to do so. Do a hard set, drop the weight by about 20%.
Yeah, look how light he goes. Look how light. In eccentric, we would do the whole stack. And if it was too light, we would put some 45-pound plates on there to make it even heavier. We want that shit to drag us down like a motherfucker.
Do another hard set without resting, and repeat for 2 to 4 sets.
Oh, he did another hard set. Oh, that's cute. Inflammaging.
In just a space of 2 to 3 minutes, you will have gotten the equivalent of 3 or so hard sets in. Another
Yeah, you would have got those 3 or 4 hard sets in, but guess what? You would have not caused any muscle damage and any growth, any myofibular growth, anything of any significance. But you will inflame your muscles, though, with inflammation. That's about it. Yeah. And exhausting yourself, metabolic fatigue.
great way to make your workouts more efficient is to use paired supersets. Superset any 2 movements that don't target the same muscles.
See? Superset. So start with a weight and just keep going lighter and lighter. So the eccentric is getting lighter instead of heavier. Oh, okay.
Like a dumbbell press and a dumbbell row, or even a leg curl and a leg extension. With
Yeah.
new research, we're learning more all the time about how to make more gains.
A leg curl and the leg extension. My whole goal is to that leg extension. We got that at my gym. My whole goal on that thing for the hamstring is to do a full stack. I'm almost there. I'm at 200. I'm at 200 doing it now for sets and reps. But I want to make sure I do it all the way to the bottom. I think it goes to 300. If once I get to 300, I'm done there, bro. Next thing, I got to do heavy bodybuilding deadlifts for the hamstrings and then an overall for growth and shit and everything else for eccentrics.
Less time. All right, final question. I hear you have a book coming up.
Indeed, yes. We wrote a book on the minimum effective dose for muscular development. Strength, hypertrophy, power building, and a book that you
They did. They wrote a book of failure to give to people so they can continuously fail and come back to them for more bullshit exercise stuff that they're gonna fabricate out of their heads. Okay.
can get, and even if you have no idea about how to make a resistance training program, what volume is.
You don't make a resistance training program you don't need to give a shit about volume. All you need to know is, does this cause damage and will it make me stronger? That's all you need to know. Will eccentric exercise damage my muscles if I overload them? And how long will it take the repair and remodeling? And what are the signs that I need to look for if you've never done this? See what I mean? And you need to take your time when you get into it, not just go right into it, the heaviest weight, I got to drop it on my body or some weird shit and overload. That's not how overload works. To damage a muscle, it needs to be repeatedly damaged. It needs to be repeatedly exercised or whatever. Like this guy, what you're doing in your concentric exercises, you're doing reps, right? Well, it needs reps. Eccentric needs reps too. It's not one rep is not going to do it really heavy or whatever. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen, dude. But whatever, man. I mean, each to their own. I mean, people, they don't know how to lift anyways in the gym. Does it really matter? You can't save anybody. You can tell them, put them on a right path or tell them, explain some stuff to them. But you can't save these lifting gym slaves, man. You know what I mean? It's crazy. If steroids, if the exercises didn't work doing concentric lifts, then what makes you think taking steroids is going to make it work? They went and they took steroids. Why? Because their eccentric failed them. And so they did the same thing. They continued in that behavior. And then what do they got to do? They got to stay on the drugs because they're cruising and blasting. Why are they cruising and blasting? I thought steroids build muscles. See what I mean? They don't build muscles, bro. Get it? Eccentric exercises build muscles, but they're on steroids and they're not even doing eccentric exercises to build muscles. Because if they went off the drugs, then the muscles would have been built and they would have been there. They would be there, but they don't do eccentric exercises. Nobody does. None of these steroid people, they all go to the gym to be performing slaves. I gotta lift the heaviest weight concentrically against gravity. Wow! Screaming and yelling, lightweight, baby! You know what I mean? Screaming like assholes in the nothing but a peanut. Stupid shit like that. You know what I mean? Lifting concentrically. And then they shrunk and everything went away because they never built any muscle. Because they didn't damage it. They didn't go through repair and remodeling. They didn't do fuck all. Because they don't even know how to use steroids properly. You know what I mean? As a supplement to help them to lift something heavier in the eccentric to cause more damage, to build more muscle. They just keep ass cheeks squeezing their ass cheeks, concentrically squeezing muscles at the top, the chest squeezing, and screaming and yelling and throwing weights around, tossing them like stupid, doing stupid shit, using their arms most of the time. They can't figure out why their arms are not growing. They're small because they're shrinking them, constantly rowing with the arms. They're just doing stupid shit in the gym, everybody.
It covers everything, covers nutrition, covers all the fundamentals, and then
It covers nutrition. What does a carnivore need in nutrition? Nothing. Animal products, meat, and as raw as you can, as raw as you can muster it. You know that? Dairy products, raw, and fucking raw animal products, and whatever, cooked raw, whatever. Okay, that's it. There's the nutrition. There isn't anything there to know. And lift eccentrically. Overload. That's it. Damage.
allows you to train with a minimum effective dose with sample programs, tips, and
This is not hard to understand.
all that sort of jazz. Buy it now.
When's that coming?
Ideally, sometime in late 2025.
Man, I can't listen to this people anymore. I'm sorry, dude.
Awesome.
I'm sorry.
Buy it.
Buy it
Faster.
now. Minimumdosebook.com. I'll buy the domain. I'll make sure to buy it.
If you'd like me
Why the fuck would I ever buy a book? I got my own experience. I don't need to buy any shitty books. I'll see you in the next one, friends. You tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Man, Dr. Milo Wolf, bro. This guy fucking sucks. Garbage.